3, 2, 1. We are live. Welcome to the Mixed Martial Angst podcast. I'm your host, Ben Kohn. It's episode 48. Joining me today, we have Bilal with no Alejandro. So let's see how this shit works out. Say hi.
Away.
Well, he didn't go. As you can tell, Bilal's not feeling especially long-winded today. So, listen, UFC 244 is around the corner. This shit's going to be dense, and I mean in a good way, like just gonna be awesome. But before we get to that, please make sure you follow us on Twitter at MMAngstp. You could follow me on Twitter as well if you really want, at AgentBen10. You could follow Bilal. What's your Twitter handle, Bilal? Twitter handle, Bilal?
I honestly can't remember.
Well, it's good to know that Bilal takes his social media life seriously. But you can
you can find Ben, you can find me.
Yeah, that's true. You can also follow Alejandro, but he's not here to tell you his Twitter handle, so screw him. Are you kidding me right now, Daniel? Daniel, what are you doing? Go away. I'm busy.
He wants to also mention his Twitter handle.
He wants to mention his Twitter handle? You have to go away, buddy. Seriously? Okay, so you also can follow us on YouTube and SoundCloud at MMAngst podcast. That's MMAngst podcast. That's for both of them. Give us your support, share with your friends. Also, have some beef jerky that I can sell you if you'd like. If you live in the continental US, just message me. Yeah, I think that's it for the introductions. Let's talk UFC 244, which is apparently still being headlined by Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. I'm not really interested in talking about all the nonsense that happened with USADA, but short.
But can we just take a second to appreciate like the progression of tainted stuff in MMA?
We can take a second.
Back in the day, it was like, yeah, he ate horse meat and that was the explanation. Or like tainted kangaroo meat. And then it slowly moved downwards.
Well, that's the thing. Like it's
tainted supplements,
mm-hmm.
and then tainted dick balls, and tainted cocaine. Now it's tainted all organic, all natural, multivitamins.
All I think we could really say is just fuck USADA and this entire system, because it's such bullshit. Let's just talk about what we can, really break down, which is Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. For all the talk about this being the BMF title, this is also just a really fucking awesome fight, right? Like, this is just a genuinely awesome fight. And I'm here for it, man. I'm really here for it. I love it that it's headlining. I think it is an important fight. And realistically, if George wins, he's right up there for a title shot. If Nate wins, he kind of is too, which is weird to say. So what do we make of this? Because this is... Look, okay, I'm going to be full disclosure. I'm coming into this fight thinking that Nate Diaz gets knocked out probably in the first 2 rounds. I'm going to be perfectly straight with that. What are your thoughts on that? Or convince me otherwise. Convince me that I'm being stupid and that Nate actually is going to make a real fight of this. But I see him just getting pieced up pretty badly because, the guy gets hit. It takes time for Nate to get rolling a lot of the time. And... you look at his last couple fights, it's kind of shows that.
Well, not just time for him to get rolling.
Whoa, Bilal, where'd you go? And he's gone. Well, he's quiet. I don't know if he can hear me.
No, I can hear you.
Oh, good. What happened to you? Holy crap. Idea. Be right back. Be right back. Daniel's climbing on stuff. Hold on.
Oh, well, I had good timing then. Yes, Daniel, climb.
I don't care. I don't care. I watched it for 2.5 hours.
Daniel needs to build the upper body strength he needs to take on Ben. It's okay, though. Ben blew his ACL out a while back. Just need to teach Daniel now to sweep the leg. All will be well.
So how much shit did you talk about me?
Nothing much.
Oh, all right then. Would you like to respond to what I was asking you before?
Oh, yeah. No, it takes a bit of time. Also because Nate's defense kind of relies on a specific type of approach.
Mm-hmm.
So usually you are either trying to rush him in a straight line, but always it's when someone decides to headhunt him in the pocket, essentially. Because then he can kind of play with range and kind of get that game going. But I don't think he's done that well when someone is struck with him on the outside generally.
Exactly. And I think we could look at all of his most recent fights, really. And what's interesting is that most of in his last, I would say, 2-3 fights for sure. He's gotten his best work done coming forward, kind of employing a walk you down, pressure you, land strikes.
He's
Sorry.
kind of discount Matt Brown impression.
In a sense, yeah. It's hard
like
to
he's
really...
good. He's good in the clinch, but like it's not his best area.
No, he's at his best. He's at his best. He's at his best when he can kind of like play at range, let your strikes come up short, do that, like he does that leaning forward over his front leg thing. We all know that. That's why Diaz is, really susceptible to leg kicks. The problem is that when he's fighting guys who are A, good outfighters, or B, have an athletic advantage over him, they're going to catch him when he's doing that. So he either has to ride out the storm, let them tire themselves out, i.e. like Conor did in the first fight, or, well, that's a perfect example, actually. And the other way he does it is and then he can start leaning back. He can catch you with those long 1-2s. He did it to Michael Johnson as well, where he started to take away piece by piece the game that Michael Johnson was working on. The problem is that he can't implement that game against a certain caliber of fighter or a certain athletic level mixed with certain caliber, right? Masvidal is that. He is that caliber, in my opinion, where he's a really good outfighter in combination with also be a pretty solid athletic talent while also being tough as nails and powerful and just enough fuck you. I don't think he's going to gas against Diaz. You know what I mean? So I'm struggling to see like he's better at long range. He's probably better in terms of like he's a better counterpuncher, I would say, than Diaz. If a little bit, he can be a little bit low output sometimes if you don't force him to push, where I would say he struggles mostly is against guys who push him backwards. The only exception to that rule, I would say, in recent fights would be Thompson, who wasn't pushing him backwards. He wasn't able to cut off Thompson's movement. And I think that's also where George struggles as well. He's kind of like, he's not going to necessarily cut off your movement in the cage, right?
Oh yeah, I was about to mention that also. If you didn't, like, he's not that good of a pressure fighter. Like he can pressure, but like
it's a walk you down,
RDA.
No, he's not. It's a walk you down pressure fighting type of game, which is kind of what I would say that's what Conor was doing in the first fight, right?
Yeah, but there's the caveat that like,
and what Pettis was doing,
someone down.
It's what Pettis was doing too, no? Or he tried to at least a little bit.
Yeah, but like then they just put up his high guard and walk Pettis down.
Exactly.
Pettis doesn't have the footwork to escape, or at least has a bit more semblance of footwork.
Right, and that's the issue I'm struggling with seeing how Diaz is necessarily going to find long-term success in this fight, is that his reactions to certain types of adversity are to do certain things. The problem is those things wouldn't necessarily work against Jorge.
Yeah, but the only other thing I can think, well, two things I can think of is that we've had a stretch of only 2 fights where Jorge has really came out of the first round like going after an opponent. Before then, he's kind of been, he'll have success here and there, but he's kind of been more of a coaster. Could call it that. He just doesn't seem that bothered. And
But
also,
when was the
like,
last time we saw him do that? Like, when was the last time we saw him coast? I don't think he
well, I
coasted
wouldn't.
against Thompson. In fact, he did his best round, I think, was round 3, where he realized he was losing and tried to push. Same thing with Damian Maia. I don't think we've seen him coast since Lorenz Larkin?
No, I don't just mean the thing he did at lightweight, where he'd win the first round and then like take it easy after that. Just in general, he's the kind of guy who'll try to go tit for tat with you, and either that means he'll win the first round and then kind of default to that and lose subsequent rounds, or he'll start off like that there, start losing the fight, and then realize he needs to come out harder. It's not really like a consistent walk you down game.
You're right. But here's my question. If he does a tit for tat with Nate, is Nate winning that fight? Because he's not, George is a way better kicker than Nate, obviously. And he does kick. He uses those kicks.
Everyone is a way better kicker than Nate.
No, Nate's actually not a bad kicker. It's a little bit underrated.
But no, he kicks, but like he's no Ernesto Woost in the cage.
No, God. Okay, man. There's a bit of a difference. There's a middle ground between Nate Diaz and Ernesto Woost, man.
Okay, like I don't know what MMA fight I can compare him.
You don't have
like
he's not
like all the examples I think of in my head is like, nah, that's a lot better than Nate's.
Okay.
It's like the only fighter worse.
He's not even Beneil Dariush.
Like Daniel Cormier.
No, Dariush is like a good, he's a solid kicker, but he's also not going to light the world on fire with his kicks.
Yeah, but he's still better than Nate.
Yeah, he's way better than Nate as a kicker. Also,
that's
underrated.
What I'm saying. Like Daniel Cormier is the only
underrated.
Daniel Cormier is the only fighter I can. Yeah, but we know he's going to beat up Nate.
Dariush doesn't have the greatest gas tank. That's the thing. 5 rounds, I could see that being Nate's fight.
Yeah, but like he is the less athletic version of the type of fighter that Nate has been losing.
I know, but I want to see it anyway. I just want to see it.
That's true.
I want Dariush to get a name win. That's why.
Oh, yeah, I also quite like him.
I really like Dariush. But again, no, go ahead.
I still kind of want to see Dariush versus Makhachev just because it's like discount Khabib versus discount Arlier.
Makhachev wins that fight.
I still kind of want to see it.
No, I wouldn't mind it. It's a great fight. But anyway, let's talk about the main event. What are we doing? Okay, here's my problem. Here's my problem.
One more mention. Like,
sure.
I've been going through his record, and like Masvidal hasn't fought that many mobile outfighters.
I don't think we can call Diaz mobile. We can call him an outfighter, but he's not mobile.
Yeah. Well, he's pretty on point with his outside movement. He's one of the best at it.
But he's slow. I think he's not a terrible comparison to someone like Cerrone or Pearson in that sense.
No, he's better than both of them at moving. Although granted that both of them are faster than him, but both of them are less consistent on moving and on the back foot.
You're right, but I'm saying we know that I don't think Diaz is going to be pulling a Stephen Thompson. You have to be a mover like Thompson to really frustrate Masvidal. You know what I mean? I don't think Diaz can replicate that game plan.
Yeah, I can't imagine him being like Thompson.
Right.
The thing with Thompson is that he shut him out with kicks on the outside.
Yeah, and that's not going to be...
Masvidal was so focused on checking leg kicks, it seemed, that he kind of just gave away his movement and also his ability to jab. So...
Yeah, that was a weird fight in general. It was a good fight. Yeah. I actually really liked that fight. But let's just... This is where I'm really struggling. Diaz's best range, right? Outfighting, he likes to hit that long 1-2, counter with the left hook as you swing, fuck with your timing, fuck with your ability to effectively land on him. The problem is that Masvidal can match his range pretty decently. And he's got a 74-inch reach, and he's also 6 foot tall. He's 5'11". He's not that much smaller than Nate. He's equally as, I would say he's on par grappling wise, even though he may not be known for his grappling, he is. He lands at almost the same clip as Diaz does. He's far more sound defensively than Diaz is. He's a better takedown artist. He's better takedown defense. Like, in every significant fashion, he's a better fighter statistically. He's been more consistent over the past few years. And stylistically, Diaz is not the type of fighter he struggles with. And I think that Diaz's durability has been declining pretty, not steeply, but noticeably.
I can agree with that, actually.
I just don't think he's he's still not going to be an easy guy to put away. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's the same Nate.
He defended a lot of punches in the first Conor fight, but he also got hit clean a few times. And like in terms of like just the complete package of punching, I think Conor hits harder than Pettis. Might not be in like singular punches, but it's generally more accurate, and he gets his weight behind it. Whereas Pettis just kind of wings punches, but Pettis was still able to drop him.
I would say Conor hits harder than Pettis, though. I don't know.
That's why I said it. The complete package. That's why I said.
No, I'm not talking complete package. I'm talking about I think in terms of just pure raw power. I think he just hits harder. I think he's been a more proven power puncher. I don't know, but
the thing with Conor is that when he really wants to throw a punch, then he'll put his entire weight into it, and you can see it looks like he's kind of hitting someone with a hammer. Whereas Pettis just kind of wings it out and usually has enough power to hurt people, but he's just winging it out. It's not like he's getting there's not like there's a bunch of mechanics behind the punch. He's just kind of winging it out there.
I mean, that's a debatable thing. I would say that Conor is just pound for pound a harder puncher than Pettis, but not irrelevant, but not super relevant. The problem is that Nate hasn't fought much. The last couple of fights he has fought, he's been hurt a lot. That's the main point we're trying to make. The guy's damage ratio has been horrific. I would say the guy's just taken a shitload of damage. As much as I'll enjoy the fight while it happens, I really see Jorge just kind of hurting Nate in the first and finishing it off in the second, probably by TKO. I don't know if it'll be a clean KO, but I don't think it'll be a clean KO. I think he'll TKO him in the second round. Watching his adjustment made versus Till is it's also important to note as well. He's a smart fighter in the cage too. For his faults in the cage with his potential lack of urgency or ability, or sometimes he'll just watch his work, I would say. That's something I think Jorge is guilty of. He's also smart and adaptable. And if he feels that he's losing, he can adapt really well, which we saw in the Till fight. In the Maia fight, he made some adaptations as well. And I think he won the third round. I don't remember.
He won the third.
Yeah,
stuck with kicking.
And in the Thompson fight as well, I think I don't know if he won the third round. I think he lost it as well, but he still did better in the third round, if I'm not mistaken. No?
Yeah, no, he did better in the third. There isn't really, just going over the recent performances, there isn't really much reason to pick Nate.
Mm-hmm.
Other than looking at Masvidal's sort of career as a whole.
Which is not necessarily the best method of gauging, because he's definitely changed a lot as a fighter, I would say. He's made serious strides.
Yeah, well, he's made a lot of technical strides and he's gotten a lot better at making adjustments. But usually with fighters, you don't see them changing their entire approach to fighting that easily. And he's finished his last two fights in the first round now, so we haven't really seen him need to change anything. And it's not like he was invulnerable against Till either.
Well, he wasn't invulnerable, don't get me wrong, but the adjustments he made in round two made that fight, it changed that fight real quick.
Yeah. But, so that sort of worries me. But that sort of worries me with Masvidal still, because like, if let's say he didn't get dropped against Till and got into like a tit-for-tat kickboxing match with him, like, would that look a lot more different than him finishing Till? Because like what we saw was him getting a lot of damage in the first round, and then just kind of coming back and knocking Till the fuck out.
No, he adjusted. He adjusted. He did the shifting punch combination, if I remember correctly, that knocked him out. He adjusted with his tools he was using.
Yeah, but it wasn't a clean tit for tat kickboxing match even at the start. That's my point. So like the problem he's had before is that if he doesn't finish you in the start of the fight, he'll either coast or he'll get into that sort of back and forth sparring session sort of fight.
I don't think that'll happen this fight. I just don't think it will. I don't think either one of them are the type of people to allow that to happen. Well, Nate isn't the type to allow it to happen. And the problem
I was about to say.
Right. The problem is that Nate's going to force him to fight regardless. And that's where I think there's the problem for Nate, because a lot of people, they can take advantage of Nate's kind of like slow roll, I guess, in the beginning. And then Nate comes on and then they fade or they falter behind it. Jorge is going to just be like, no, fuck you. Like, and hit back. And he's not Donald Cerrone from way back in the day. Jorge is going to land on Diaz, and he's going to land hard, and he's going to land accurately. So,
the first 2 rounds, I wouldn't pick Nate to win unless Nate is somehow a better clinch fighter and just traps him there. But then that will probably make Masvidal come out harder. My main concern is if Masvidal starts strong, isn't able to put Nate away at the start of the fight, and then we kind of get like a clinch. I wouldn't exactly call it a war, but just sort of like a clinch fight where both of them kind of go back and forth, not really landing anything too damaging.
I'm not sure I see that.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. If Masvidal has a lot of success early, I haven't seen anything to tell me that he's completely changed from the old way. It's like, okay, I did enough damage at the start, I'm totally going to win the fight now. That makes sense.
Well, he hurt Cerrone and then came out even harder in the second round to finish him.
Did it look like he just stuck with the game plan?
Well, I'm saying like he didn't just coast. He went for the finish and he attempted to finish him. And he was pushing a little harder, I would say.
Oh, okay. I still don't see the push being that harder, but fair enough, he didn't coast after that. In any case, like if you look at all the singular stuff you laid out already, there isn't much reason to pick Nate in this fight.
Yeah.
Unless it's just like, I don't know, MMA shenanigans again.
True. Yeah. So with that said, I'm picking Masvidal round 2 TKO. You?
Round 2 sounds about right.
Yep. Kelvin Gastelum, Darren Till, co-main event. Interesting fight. I don't want to. I'm not so straightforward on that. Till is not a bad fighter. We need to make that clear. He's not the second coming of Jesus. He's not, some incredible striker, otherworldly. He doesn't have otherworldly power, which is something that seemed to have been hyped about him, but just isn't true. The problem is that, yeah, go ahead.
Unless you mean that it was an ungodly power when he KO'd Cerrone 2 weeks after Cerrone got KO'd by Masvidal?
Yes, exactly. And still took almost 5 minutes to do it. It's not otherworldly power to drop Bojan Velichkovic, this is a guy who lost to Nicholas Dalby in his first UFC run. He's not. Till is what was a really good prospect who got pushed way too fast. That's the best way I can put it. Now, here's the thing. Kelvin Gastelum is a prospect that has taken a slower route to get to where he is, mostly through his own faults. And I'm not sure where he's at right now. And the durability is what concerns me. It really scares me, because if Kelvin is still himself, I'm having a rough time seeing how Till is going to, over a longer fight, avoid those blitzes of Kelvin Gastelum. Now, don't get me wrong. He can probably drop Kelvin coming in if he's quick enough to land a shot. But from everything I'm seeing of Darren Till, he put on a nice amount of size. He looks thick, like with 2 C's. And I'm a little concerned he might slow down. Like we might see a slowdown similar to Luke Rockhold's move to light heavyweight, where he just gazzes out in a round and a half. It's concerning to me because I really think Darren Till could have been a really good fighter, but I think that this is like they're just matching him up so badly. This is such a bad fight for him because even if he wins it, then he beat a top 5. I think he's ranked top 5, right? Kelvin is ranked top 5, right? Probably. He's right around there. He's ranked right around the top 5. Now he's a top 5 middleweight. Now what? He's going to be matched up with fucking Romero. It's a real big problem. And from a technical standpoint, Till is pretty low output unless he's trying to rush you. He like what he did Cerrone, but again, so that was the game plan: rush him, finish him early, get him out of there. I don't think that's going to be the game plan against Gastelum, nor was it the game plan against Masvidal, I'm assuming. So I'm struggling to see how Till comes out of this fight winning in a way that doesn't damage his career, or losing in a way that doesn't damage his career. Because if he loses to Gastelum, it's very likely by knockout. If he beats Gastelum, probably via KO. I cannot see him winning that decision. Gastelum just has a more durability. He's got probably a better gas tank than Till, especially since this is a move up to 185. What are your thoughts? Like, what I'm struggling because I don't see this being the type of fight that Gastelum generally struggles with. Well, yeah, I mean, he's not a big wrestler who's going to ground him out, and he's definitely not nearly the striker of Israel Adesanya. So the only fight that I can see where this might be a problem for Gastelum is going all the way back to the Neil Magny fight, where he kind of just assumed he would be at trouble. Like, he just kind of conceded that he's going to fight at long range with Magny and then lost. It was weird. Like, that was a weird fight, and he only lost by split decision. It was a weird fight. Magny got a bunch of takedowns. I'm not really sure. Like, Kelvin knocked him down twice in one round. What are your thoughts? I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I really don't know what to say about this fight. It's just not. I really don't like this fight.
To be fair, until he is kind of good at drawing out openings and then up stepping in to take advantage of it. But like, yeah, he's not
fast.
Magnified.
He's not fast.
I was getting there.
Yeah, sorry.
Since the magnified Gastelum and Gastelum's move up to middleweight, he's gotten a lot better at fighting guys with reach on him. And he was an actual fast welterweight. Like Tyron Woodley wasn't noticeably faster than him in their division. And you compare that to Till, was like totally blindsided by Woodley's speed. I don't see much reason to give Till an edge other than like he comes into this looking like a skinned King Kong and just like overpowers Gastelum, or Gastelum took a lot of damage from the easy fight. But
right,
it's really easy to imagine Gastelum like kind of rushing him down, sort of like what Masvidal did. Just without the actual adaptation, more just kind of spamming the 1-2 until it lands.
Well, that's the thing. I'm very concerned that Gastelum may start, because Gastelum always starts the fight. He doesn't come out rushing forward. He never does, right? Like, he always kind of like does the whole feel out. This, he'll sit on the outside, and that's where he's kind of in danger, because Till is, for whatever flaws he may have as a fighter, he's a very accurate puncher. And he does hit hard, if not stupid hard. And I can see that maybe causing a bad reaction from Gastelum if he's not the same durability-wise.
I don't think it's the same durability-wise. But, does it have to be the same?
Maybe. Because Till seems like the kind of fighter whose power will increase at 185.
Nah.
The way he sits on his punches.
It will increase that much. Like, I mean, he's going to put on a lot of mass, but like he's still not going to have this raw speed to keep up with Gastelum. And Gastelum has eaten big shots from other 185ers.
That's the thing. He's eaten a lot of big shots. Like,
yeah, but
look at his record.
Kind of like speed and accuracy.
But I'm saying, like, look at his record. I mean, not his record. Look at his fights in recent years. Like the Izzy fight, and immediately preceding that was the Jacare fight. Like, that's a lot of damage in 2 fights.
Like, but my point is, when he's been hurt, it's been more of a function of like positioning and speed than just plain power. Like,
I would say the Jacare fight was just him
degrading.
I would say his fight with Jacare was more just him eating bombs.
Yeah, but like he didn't get that hurt. Like,
well,
even if his chin even if his durability decreases, like it won't like suddenly drop overnight.
I disagree in the sense that the Izzy fight is the type of fight that I feel like fighters' chins do degrade overnight. That's the type of fight that I think that ruins chins.
Oh, we'll have to see. Like,
yeah, skill for skill, tactic for tactics, and skill for skills. I think Gastelum should win this fight. Probably again, first or second round KO.
I don't even think it's skill for skill. I think they're but even skill for skill. Just that Gastelum.
No, that's why I said tactic for tactic, and their skills combined with their tactics. Because if it was just tactics, but Gastelum didn't have the skills or the athleticism, then it wouldn't matter. That's what I'm saying. The Gastelum's techniques will only work because of how much faster he will be than Till. And I really feel like it's going to be very amusing to watch how fast Gastelum is compared to Till.
Especially because Till has kind of had that tall man defense for like his entire career.
Yeah.
Can you just imagine him leaning away and then Gastelum, that stupid fucking fast burst.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a higher volume Tyron Woodley.
Basically. And pressuring. Thompson Luque. I am hyped for this fight, but I'm also sad for this fight because I honestly think that we might see Luque's run end.
I actually don't know what to make of it because like Thompson has been a lot more hurtable lately. And also, I mean, you know my take on like the fancy ass karate shirt these days.
But he's also a good fighter.
An actually good kickboxer.
But he's an actual good striker. He is. I know Tyron Woodley fights aside, right? Like
not even talking about the Woodley fights, but like
that fight
whenever some fancy ass karate guy comes along. What?
That fight with Till was so bad.
God damn. Why did you remind me of it?
It's so bad.
I didn't even have it in mind.
It's so bad.
Like, wasn't he like 5 strikes landed over 5 rounds or something?
No, it was 30-38 with Till getting a knockdown in the 5th round.
Okay, so like 5 strikes a round.
Yeah.
Whoop.
It was in total you had 5 for Thompson, 6 for Thompson, 8, 8, and 3, and then you had 4, 9, 9, 7, 9 for Till. Wow.
Don't make me think about that. Can I just go on the tangent I was going on?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to ruin your life.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck karate strikers. It was like, like, how annoying it is. Like, you always see people hyping up the karate in and out footwork, but like no other striking sport has that sort of footwork because people usually just get picked apart in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like MMA is the only MMA is the only I can't even call it non-niche, but like MMA is the only sport out of the big 3 where that style is actually viable. And in the fights we've seen where like fundamental kickboxers go up against karate guys, it's usually the fundamental kickboxers who come out on top. Like, that has to go without saying that like Thompson has like 0 fucking head movement. The in and out, he relies a lot on taking angles to make those in and out blitzes work. Otherwise, he's usually just running into a punch. And like if someone can track him down or force him to come in on a straight line, he's usually fared a lot worse.
Yes. But the way I look at this is like Luque is a higher output Masvidal.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
he's-
Not specifically in every way. I'm saying like this fight, like to me, it looks a lot like it could. I would not be shocked if this looks a lot like the Masvidal fight.
Yeah, but Luque can actually. Okay, Masvidal sort of does that now, but Luque is still good at tracking people down. Even if it's not the greatest pressure footwork, he can still track them down.
Yeah, but look at who he's fought.
It's a fuck ton hard.
But look at who he's fought. The last guy he fought that's actually a good outfighter was Leon Edwards. But Edwards also out wrestled him. As I'm saying, like he hasn't fought, like he fought Nico Price, Chad Laprise, Jalen Turner, Brian Barberena, Derek Kranz, and Mike Perry. That's not a list that gives us a lot of analysis for like how, like Mike Perry was fighting on the outside and he kind of nearly won that fight. You know what I mean? Like Mike Perry was playing an outfighting game.
But Mike Perry barely got shit done.
He nearly won the fight. What are you talking about? He
like
landed
a lot of the strikes he landed were towards Luque's guard.
He landed a ton of head strikes. He landed more head strikes than Luque did. He landed a shitload of clean strikes.
I don't remember him landing that many clean strikes.
He landed more strikes than Perry. Seriously.
Perry landed more strikes than Perry.
Sorry, Perry landed more strikes than Luque. Like a lot more.
Oh.
Like he a few more significant, but a lot more total.
Maybe I'm thinking only of like the really hard strikes then, because I can't remember Perry like really.
Perry fucking clocked him a ton. It was a very close fight. I scored it for Luque, but it was like razor thin.
Nah, well, okay. In any case, like I just don't trust Tom. If Luque can track Thompson's angle, that angle he takes before he blitzes in, kind of like Till did, I have a lot more faith in Luque putting Thompson away than Till.
I understand that, but the problem I have is that the problem here is simply this. He's not necessarily a picture fighter in the sense that he doesn't really cut off the cage exceptionally well at all. He's kind of like Masvidal in that regard, is that he's a solid, he can pressure, but it's not his game. It's not like he's going to be phenomenal at it.
His A game.
Yeah, it is in the sense that he does come forward, but he's also not going to, he's been fighting guys who are not really capable of moving out of the way.
But so has Till. Till doesn't have phenomenal pressure footwork, but he knows enough to track you down.
But Till also fought an outside kickboxing game with Thompson, and he had tools that made it possible for him to beat Thompson there. I don't think Luque does necessarily. Where Luque has the advantage is the fact that he's a pretty dedicated leg and body kicker. I think that's where Thompson's really going to have an issue. Because Pettis was losing that fight, but he was dedicating to that leg kick, and you saw it start to affect Thompson's movement.
Yeah, but like, so what I took from that Pettis fight was that by sort of forcing Thompson forward, Pettis made him come in on a straight line, and that kind of lined up that last punch, even though it was kind of a weird bounce off the cage thing. But like,
that was like a weird.
If someone can track Thompson down, yeah, but like that's kind of what I'm saying. If someone can track Thompson's footwork down so that he blitzes in on a straight line, the counter is just there.
But I don't think that was even Pettis timing it. That's the thing. I don't even think Pettis timed that. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think Pettis.
I think it was like on the spot.
Yeah, I think he just did it, and it happened to be at the same time. Like it's like when I play the UFC game, and I'm like, I can tell the difference between when someone times it versus when someone just throws it. Like I'll be like, oh, I duck into a head kick or something, get knocked out, and I'm like, oh, okay, that guy timed it as part of a combination, so he threw the 1-2 and then threw the head kick. So that was like. No, he didn't time it. Sorry, that's when I know he didn't time it. It's just like I'm throwing this combination, right? And I ducked out of the way and I happened to duck into the head kick. Versus when someone sees me start the duck and then throws the head kick. And that, like, just the head kick, like, as a timing thing. Like, I can tell the difference. And then I get
Luque is the latter.
Yeah. Oh,
Luque is the latter.
I know that. But the problem is that he also, his double forearm guard is going to be a problem for him. He just stands there and like puts up the double forearm, and that's like fucking beautiful work for like that's like a perfect opportunity for Thompson to just take an angle and crack him as Luque turns. This is the type of fight where I think people have forgotten that Stephen Thompson's actually really fucking good. The problem is that he's also 35 years old, and it's very possible that his durability and athleticism have dropped to the point where he can't compete anymore. To me, I think
his athleticism is there.
This is a fight where if I had prime Thompson, I would probably pick him 65-35. But the fact that this is definitely not prime Thompson and Luque is on a fucking tear and he does kick the body and legs, that's where I'm really pausing, is that Luque can crack like a motherfucker. He's tough as nails, and he's also kicks the leg and body. The negatives are he's not a great pressure fighter in the sense that he doesn't cut off the cage, and his double forearm guard is really basic in the sense that he's meant to counter punchers. He's not meant to counter these blitzes. He doesn't fight these guys who blitz like that. He really hasn't fought anybody like that. Look at his entire UFC career.
There's very few at welterweight that do fight like that in any case.
Right. So I have to pick an underdog, so I'm going to. And this is going to be the one I pick. I'm going to pick Stephen Thompson by decision.
Is Thompson the underdog?
Probably. Is he? I don't know. He might be. If he's not, then I'm going to be really, really fucked. I'm going to be annoyed because I wanted to bet on him. If he's not the underdog, I'm going to be mad. I'm checking. What are your thoughts? What are you picking?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I can kind of see it go the way you outlined. But at the same time, I don't trust his durability enough.
Right. That's what's making me really concerned.
So I have to go with like Luque by like.
Holy shit. Thompson's the favorite? Fuck.
With Luque by like around 2 KOs.
Yeah, I see that. I'm like 51. I'm like 51, 49 on it. I'm not really. Names. Yeah, exactly. I'm not really like super confident. Next fight is Derek Lewis.
Oh, look, like Thompson has only lost in names. Thompson has only lost in names.
True.
Well, no, look, like Thompson has only lost in names, and Luque like has less of a name than Perry, even though we've like removed Perry's nose from his face.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, the next fight that is on the card is Derek Lewis versus Blagoy Ivanov. And that fight's going to be the shit. And by the shit, I don't mean it in a good way. I mean, it's going to literally be a big steaming pile of shit.
Yeah.
You have two guys who love to just like, wait for you to throw and counter you, but one of them is more durable than the other, but one of them is also obnoxiously larger than the other.
And one of them will actually has a sort of sensible striking game, while the other throws jumping switch kicks for like 95% of the fight.
Derek Lewis is going to win a very tepid 29-28 decision.
Or he'll get like slightly out-volumed by Blago Ivanov.
Maybe. Very possible.
Either way, I'm not looking forward to it.
I'm not. Kevin Lee.
I don't fucking understand the whole thing with Derek Lewis. Like, he gets the shit kicked out of him always in boring fights, but like 1 KO at 4:59 of the third round seems to like save his name value every single fucking time.
I fucking love it.
Oh my god.
I fucking love Derek Lewis. He's the perfect encapsulation of heavyweight. Although I hope that will change with Cyril Gagne, which we'll hopefully be able to have time to get to. Gregor Gillespie, Kevin Lee. This fight is fucking awesome. And Gregor Gillespie is going to beat Kevin Lee.
This should be higher up on the card.
It should be above Derek Lewis, for fuck's sake.
Yes.
Although.
And it's going to be fucking fun.
Oh my God. It's going to be a blast. Kevin Lee's going to gas so hard. Listen.
Don't remind me. Like, I'm picking Gillespie, but like, I like Kevin Lee.
I like Kevin Lee also. The problem is that this is not a good fight for him. He's not going to knock out Gillespie.
I don't understand why he picked this fight.
I don't know if he did.
No, he put out a statement a while back saying like him and his coaches thought that like it's a tough fight with not a lot of name recognition, but he kind of needs to like, rebuild his game and like get back in there. Like, don't start that with Gregor Gillespie.
I think they're looking at this as kind of like a Michael Chiesa type, when in reality this is closer to a RDA mixed with Tony Ferguson type on the ground, with the scrambling ability plus the ridiculous top control. This is going to look a lot
better than them, though.
Yeah, the thing is that Kevin Lee took down RDA 6 times. He took down Ali Quinta 3 times. He took down Edson Barboza 4. He took down Tony Ferguson 3. Kevin Lee might very well get a takedown on Gregor, and that's what really intrigues me. Like, how is Gregor going to react off his back? I don't think it's going to matter. The problem is that this is a 3-round fight. So there's a very good chance that Kevin Lee can take the first 2, gas out, lose the third, but still win. I also don't see...
against Gregor, he's going to get finished.
Maybe. Gregor is insanely aggressive with his wrestling and his submission attempts and his ground and pound. He's been taken down 1 time. He's been taken down 0 times. No one's shot a takedown on him.
Why would you?
Well,
isn't this like the dude who like nearly made the Olympic team but like couldn't because of like Jordan Burroughs or something?
I think so, something like that. And he averages 7.44 takedowns per fight.
Holy fuck, that is high.
Yeah. I'm going to pick Gregor Gillespie by submission in the third because, again, I think Lee is going to gas out. I do not think he can, especially at lightweight, he's not keeping pace. With that weight cut, I cannot imagine him keeping pace with Gregor. And that's the problem. I think this is just skill for skill. I would really be intrigued to watch this probably for 2 rounds.
No, like if it doesn't in the finish, I'm enjoying that last round. Even though I like Kevin Lee, like I like Gregor Gillespie also.
Yeah.
So
I think this is Gregor's this is Gregor's coming out party. He's going to burst into the top 10. He'll finally be able to get some big names, I hope.
But I do want to say that like there is a bit of sort of an opening for Kevin Lee in that if he's able to get through the scrambles and consolidate like mount or take the back, then he has a bit more of a shot because what we've really seen from like these top wrestlers for a while now, I want to say, is that unless they spend a lot of time doing BJJ specific stuff there, those are the 2 areas that they usually fall short in because you don't really get back takes or mountain wrestling. I mean, if it's you get mountain wrestling,
of course not.
That's match. And we'll probably talk about this later with Askren and Maya, but like if Kevin Lee is able to consolidate that there, he has a shot of winning the fight or at least doing a ton of damage. But like if he's just gonna get stuck in the never-ending scramble, then like you have to go with Gillespie. He pushes a much higher pace.
Yeah, this is just
at a much higher level.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily something to necessarily say I'm going to pick this guy because he wrestled at a higher level because we've seen that that's not
no, not to pick him. I'm talking about if they caught in a scramble specifically, like if.
But I do want to also
consolidate control quick enough.
But it is important to mention where he trains. He trains at Long Island MMA, which has some very good MMA grapplers like Ryan LaFleur and Dennis Bermudez, and Chris Wade trains there. Like he's got a really good team around him. That's the thing, and they specialize in grapplers. You know what I mean? It's just something. They also have Brian Kelleher. I did not know that. But yeah, it's important to note. But I do think Gregor's going to eventually finish him in the third.
Yeah, I mean that sounds about right.
Okay.
Again, his pace is insane, and like if Kevin Lee can't get the finish in the first 2 or can't rack up enough damage that there are clean rounds, like you just kind of have to bank on the gas tank.
Yeah, and we should also mention there's going to be a significant size advantage for Kevin Lee, so that's also something that can play into these grappling exchanges because if Gregor engages in grappling with Kevin Lee and he kind of just gets overpowered, like really overpowered and shut to the mat and held down, Kevin Lee's top game is fucking dominating and just really bad. It's dangerous. The only guy who really survived it without taking too much damage was RDA, really.
Well, and I like Winter.
Yeah.
Barely got in.
Right.
Like
very good
but
call.
Like his top game is very BJJ orientated, which is kind of what I mentioned earlier about him having a sort of in for the fight. But at the same time, like you kind of need to go through your steps in order to reach those positions. Unless it's like a back teleport, you probably aren't just going to end up.
Well, his back teleports are ridiculous. That's something that needs to be mentioned is that Kevin Lee's ability to take the back while in transition is nearly unparalleled. Also, we should mention Kevin Lee is a massive step up for Gregor. Like Gregor's last fight was against Yancy Medeiros.
Yeah.
Like the best fighter
Not
he's
really
faced
a
might be
comparison.
the best fighter he might have faced, I'm not kidding, is maybe Vince Pichel. Like it's just, this is a massive step up. So we might just see that Gregor, yeah, he can look dominating, but he's never faced anyone like Kevin Lee. And that needs to be noted. So there's two scenarios here where we just see that Gregor engages in the grappling exchange with Kevin Lee and Kevin Lee just big brothers him, or he's able to use that insane wrestling skill. And what's different about Kevin Lee is very like singular in the sense, like you're not going to see Kevin Lee hitting mat returns necessarily like Gregor Gillespie. You're not going to see him using, these crazy transitions between singles, doubles, and trips and Kevin Lee's a very power oriented game, but that might be the right move against a grappler like Gregor Gillespie, because I mean, it's not the same. I know that, but Woodley versus Maya, where you had a power wrestling game versus a let me get a hold of you and work from their game. And we saw how that played out. It's not the same. Obviously, Gregor's a far better wrestler than Damian Maya. There's no question. And and Kevin Lee is nowhere near the defensive wrestler as Tyron Woodley, I would say. But this could be that should be those types of matchups. Wow. I don't know what the fuck happened there. Those types of matchups are things that we see where we see the power game just shut down the chain game. And I could see that happening. I don't think it will. I think that Gregor will, win.
But that's the thing. Like the times we've seen the power game shut out the finesse thing, there has usually been when like the finesse guy has like a noticeable athletic disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
And
I would say
the
that
power
Kevin's
guy
more
can sort of walk straight into those. I wouldn't say he's more athletic.
I would say
like
he is.
Gillespie's fucking fast.
Gillespie's fast,
Kevin
but I think
Lee
that has
isn't
more.
that-
I would say Gregor's fast, but only because he's smaller. I don't think he's athletic fast. I think he's small, like Frankie Edgar.
But that still counts for something.
It does, but Kevin Lee is not slow.
Despite his size, Gregor is quite strong still also. It's not like
he's grappling
he's
strong,
not like,
yeah.
He's not like one of these generic MMA fighters who start MMA late and then put together like a
They cobble
really
that shit together.
Game. Yeah. But then at the same time, because they started late, they're like not that great of athletes, even though they might be sort of strong or sort of big for the weight class. Gregor's the opposite of that. Like he's been doing this wrestling shit for years, and he's quite a good athlete, even though he has a size disadvantage. So I don't think, unless Kevin Lee can consolidate a position really fast in transition, I don't think he's going to have that much success just big brothering Gillespie.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's quickly run down the we'll do picks for the undercard. Corey Anderson, Johnny Walker. A sentence or two.
Okay, so the guy who was
very quick.
Fuck you.
No, we have to talk about.
So it's like the guy with like, yeah, but it's like the guy with no chin versus like the guy who has shown no game. So I don't know.
Corey Anderson wins most of that fight, and Johnny Walker hits a flying KO or something like that in the second or third round. I don't know. Realistically, Corey should win. Whether he will or not is entirely dependent on whether his chin can hold up to whatever.
That's light heavyweight.
Yeah. Burgos Amir Khani. I'm kind of sad we don't have time to talk about this one, but what a fucking fight.
Amir Khani's at SPG Ireland, right?
He is an SPG Ireland guy. He's an extremely athletic, fun, crazy fun fighter. Like, he's so much fun. But he's also kind of not polished.
I just needed to know if was at SPG. I'm picking Burgos.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Burgos too. I'm curious about the grappling exchanges because that would be interesting. But, man, like, it took Calvin Kattar to knock out Burgos, and Kurt Holloway knocked him down, but that was weird. And then Burgos had that awesome fight with Cub Swanson. Yeah, I'm going to go Burgos as well. Probably by decision, though. Brad Tavares, Edmund Shabazian. This is a really fucking awesome card. This is such a good card. Shabazian.
I couldn't hear what you said just now.
It said it's such a good card.
Oh,
this is a good fight.
Wait, fuck! You couldn't hear me then. I think my internet connection cut out for a second.
No, you're good.
or a couple seconds.
Okay.
No, I was saying
Brad has not fought for a long
the
time.
modern day SPG guys seem to be. Are you on Brad Tavares versus Edmund Sharbazian?
I am, but you can go.
Fuck, my feed must have cut out then.
You're good. Go ahead.
No, like the modern day SPG guys seem kind of like, the Team Alpha Male fighters when Dwayne Ludwig made TJ champion, where they do all this flashy stuff on the outside, but they don't really have it put together well enough for it to actually work. And I don't think you want to do that against Shane Burgos, especially at range. He can be tricked up in the pocket with these head movement reliant game, but if you are standing at range and trying to do all that flashy shit, he's gonna have enough distance to see it coming, and he is a good counter puncher for the most part. So, can't pick against him.
Next is again Tavares Shabazzian. Tavares has not fought since fighting Israel Adesanya. He was on a 4-fight win streak before that. Shabazzian, 3-fight win streak since coming to the UFC, but he also has not fought anyone very good. So what? This is the type of fight where I would really like to see Shabazzian win, but I can't. I don't know if Shabazzian's better than Jotko Leitis or, Theodoro. Tavares has only really lost to the.
Better than him.
Yeah, the only guy aside from Tim Boetsch, look at Tavares' losses: Adesanya, Whitaker, and Romero, and Aaron Simpson. But that's way back.
I feel so bad for him now.
The dude's just a solid mid-level fighter who keeps getting really fucking bad matchups. I can't see Shabazzian. I'm gonna pick Tavares.
I don't know where Tavares is now, but if he's anything like his old form, yeah, Tavares.
All right, let's move on to the next card. There's a bunch of fights. Andrei Arlovsky probably wins. Jennifer Maia probably wins. Chance Rakunter probably wins, and against Lyman Good, and Julio Arce probably. Ooh, Arce Dawodu is a fucking awesome card.
Whoa, wait. Are you saying that Lyman isn't that good?
No, I'm not. I'm saying that he's probably going to lose to Chance, though. I know what I said. I was waiting for you to get it. All right. We had Damian Maia versus Ben Askren. Okay, first of all, hell yeah. Right? I love Damian Maia. He's turning 42. You know that? He's turning 42 pretty soon.
Yeah, this week, isn't it?
Yeah. This is awesome. I love it. I love seeing him win. If Ben Askren even had a semblance of punching form, he might have actually been able to do some real damage to Damian Maia because he was landing that right hand over and over and over and over again. And it's just shit because he has no punching mechanics. He doesn't have any real power. But he busted up Damian Maia's left side of his face with just baps.
Bap, 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 bap.
He's the difference between him and Shields is that Shields doesn't have power, but also
now.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: Shields doesn't have power and doesn't try to throw with power. He just tries to land strikes. Ben Askren's trying to hurt you, he just can't. I don't know how else to say it. But the grappling exchanges when they happened were fucking awesome. They were so good. The grappling exchanges were so fucking good.
Yeah.
At one point in the first round, you saw Damian Maia get taken down.
Grappling and the wrestling exchanges both.
Correct. And the thing is that
it should be noted that Askren was the better wrestler, but he could do shit once the fight hit the ground.
Right. And what's important to note is that he actually in the first round, right? He hit this awesome. He had a takedown. He got to the ground. Maia did a great job. He got to single leg X guard. He used his butterfly to get the single leg X guard, and then he switched it to the double, not the double, the X guard, the full X guard, which Askren countered by going forward, so he lost it, and then he tried to get up behind. It was just the scrambles were beautiful. When he got taken down, and then he was able to use that triangle to switch to the omoplata, which allowed him to get on top. And then the final sequence where he was taken down and transitioned. It's just overall just a beautiful exchanges on the ground. Damian Maia won at least one of the 2 rounds on the feet, probably.
I think he won both on the feet.
Yeah, I mean, they were even in strikes. It's just that Maia clearly was landing harder strikes, so I would give it to Maia.
Yeah. Askren's I don't even want to call it BAPs because like it was clearly a BAP, but like Jake Shields lands cleaner BAPs.
Jake Shields is a better striker.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really, really love the fight. The rear naked choke was fucking gorgeous. It's Maia. Watching him work on the ground is just beautiful. I kind of did get what Askren's game plan seemed to be, which is just like force Maia to engage at any cost so that he gases out. Like that really seemed to be Ben Askren's game plan. And I think they thought he was maybe more tired than he really was in the third round because Maia was visibly like huffing and puffing, which is normal for Maia. But Maia also still wasn't slow. Like you saw his strikes still had pop on them and he was still reacting really well. The problem is that Askren started to land more.
Maia gassed Askren.
Maia
was gassing.
What? I don't think Askren was gassed, actually.
You didn't see him slow down. Like he looked like he was slowing down quite a bit towards the end. Because Maia was still landing knees on occasion and stuff on Askren.
I don't think Askren was necessarily gassing. I think that Maia was just timing Askren's entries more because Askren really had nothing for Maia after a certain point.
Why did Askren look so fucking slow then? Okay, like
he
slower
is.
than normal.
I don't think
slower than normal.
I think he was just out of ideas, honestly. Because it wasn't working. What he was trying to do wasn't working. The problem with Maia is not the problem with Maia. The problem with Ben is that he wasn't able to land with any significant power, which didn't hurt Maia. So Maia was kind of just like, fuck it, I don't care. But also he wasn't landing at a higher clip than Maia. Like Colby Covington wasn't necessarily hurting Maia, but he was landing at a much higher pace than Maia. Askren wasn't. He tried. He was throwing a little bit more, but he was throwing a lot more. In that third round, he was throwing twice as many strikes, but he also wasn't landing. That's the difference. Colby was, and that's a big difference. So awesome fight. I love it. Maia said, I think Maia called out Diego Sanchez.
You know, Maia landed a third of his strikes to Askren's body.
A third? Yes. Yeah, he threw a bunch of body shots.
K1 Maia.
Nah, this was not K1 Maia. K1 Maia doesn't do ground game.
No, to be fair, like you see, he actually tried implementing this anti-wrestler game plan on Askren.
Yeah, no,
like for lots of the fights, Askren couldn't get the takedown. He was kind of breaking clinches and outstriking Askren.
What?
Although, no, I'm saying for most of the fight, Askren, even when he clinched up with Maia, he couldn't get the takedown. Like Maia would shut him out, hit him with a knee, and then just go back to striking at range again. It's like,
yeah,
basically the game plan that all the wrestlers used against Maia used against Askren, and it was fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, it really was. Let's quickly move on to the remainder of the card. The Michael Johnson-Stevie Ray fight should have been a draw at best. Otherwise, yeah. I scored it for Johnson. Otherwise,
I scored it for Johnson too.
I really don't know why people kept scoring it for Ray. I don't think he landed the harder strikes in rounds 1 and 2. I think that Johnson landed the better, harder strikes. I really like what Ray was doing. He did a really, really good job. Like round 2 was definitely Johnson's. I don't see why round 1 was scored for Ray. I don't think he landed anything significant. He didn't get any takedowns. He didn't really land any hard shots. I think Johnson landed the better shots. Now, that being said, I still think it was a draw, at best. If you want to score round 1 for Stevie Ray and round, fine, but I don't. So I scored it a draw because round 3 probably was that was 10-8 round.
Can I just say, like, is it just me or did Johnson's ground game diminish?
I mean, I don't know if it's diminished, but I think that
I remember it being better before, is what I want to say. Like, it can't just be me, right? Because in this fight, there was like several sequences where, there was basically the end sequence where Ray got him down, and then it looked like Michael Johnson was just chilling on the ground for a second while Ray was able to, move position. Like, why are you chilling there? What are you doing that for? He's just gonna like start punching you as soon as he gets a better position, right?
I guess, but he also trains at Hooft, so.
Yeah, but like they are normally like, I wouldn't say they have deep ground games, but they're normally very quick to try to get back to their feet. Like at the end of the fight, he was just chilling on the ground for like a second or two. Like I have not seen that from a Wolf fighter yet.
I don't know. I mean, I think that Johnson's kind of. I don't think he's physically declined. I think it's more of a, just as a fighter, he seems to have mentally declined in recent years. I mean, ever since the fights with Nate, like he has had a rough patch. 2 losses straight, the win over Poirier, 3 losses straight, 2 wins straight over Feely and Lobov, and then the 2 losses to Emmett and Ray. Like, I mean, I don't know where he's at this point. He's not young. He's got to be, he's like 30. He's got to be close to 34, 35 years old at this point. 35 fights. He's taking a fair amount of damage. I'm not sure where he's at.
He took beatings at least to the end of his last lightweight run.
Yeah.
Like, that has to also be said. Because, like, he put on several good performances, but, like, he took a fair bit of damage against Diaz. And, like, Khabib and Gaethje just mauled him.
Yeah.
The Gaethje fight was more of a quote-unquote fight. But at the same time, like, his body couldn't take it towards the end.
Yep.
Whereas the Khabib one was just a straight-up beating.
Yeah. I guess the last thing we're going to talk about is Cyril Gane. It's an actual heavyweight prospect with a legitimately good striking game who also apparently has a good ground game. And it's weird a little bit.
You said in Gano's old camp. Aren't they the same guys who, like...
No, he was in Gano's striking coach, dude.
What?
Like, I think he's a
Fight
legitimate...
it like at all.
No, Gane is a legitimate kickboxer, if I'm not mistaken.
Huh. Who knew?
Yeah, like he's got a kickboxing background. You saw it. I don't know if you watched the fight, but really you should go watch the fight. He's using actual defense, like head movement and blocking punches and movement, and his stance switching actually made sense rather than just being nonsense.
That's why I said he fights nothing like Ngannou.
Right, because he's an actual kickboxer. Yeah, but he's like his team, like he's a legit prospect. He's only 28 too.
What?
Yeah.
This keeps getting fucking weirder.
Yeah. This is a guy who I would actually say is a far better prospect than anybody like Ngannou or something like that. Like, he's legit. Keep an eye out on him, because if this guy can defend the takedown really well, good luck. The UFC's division's kind of going to be fucked.
Or he just pulls off the walk heavyweight. I want to defend against that.
Yeah, he's 5-0 now. He's 265, 29 years old. Sorry. He's got more submissions than KOs despite a kickboxing background. Like, it's good. He really is. He's somebody to really keep an eye on. All right. The last thing we talk about is Douglas Lima versus Rory McDonald, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna come clean. This is the only fight that we touched on that I haven't watched.
Okay.
So maybe you can go ahead.
I mean, I would say that this just shows that Douglas Lima is a better fighter at this point than Rory McDonald. The first fight was close as hell. Douglas landed better damage. He did the same thing this time, except he was able to stop the takedowns. Douglas was more measured, so he wasn't getting himself into danger, but he did an awesome job defending those takedowns, and Rory got in deep on some of those. He picked him apart from range, landed the harder shots, was able to do damage on top of Rory at one point. But yeah, like Douglas Lima is a legitimate fucking welterweight talent. He's got an awesome record. Like, he would do way better in the UFC than Ben Askren did, and Ben Askren beat him. Would he be the champ? Probably not. I think he would struggle with guys like Usman specifically, actually, because as good as he's gotten in his defending takedowns, he still has certain issues that would, leave him susceptible to that. But beating someone like Rory finally, and, the other guys he's beaten, God, I love watching him the knockout of MVP. I really do. But he's so good at placing his shots. He's really good at landing hard shots that kind of scare off his opponents. the guy's got an excellent record at this point. The win over Rory, beat Koreshkov, Paul Daly, Lorenz Larkin. He beat Koreshkov twice, actually.
Didn't he outhook Paul Daly?
Yeah. I mean, he's a phenomenal striker. He's a really, really talented striker. His biggest issue sometimes can be like output and like he's a little too willing to counter as opposed to lead. But here he was leading. Rory did well. Like, listen, it's obviously not prime Rory just because of the damage he's taken, but like Rory did well, and he's just not going to be able to beat Lima. He's just not at this point. He can't. I would love to see Douglas Lima come to the UFC and fight guys like let's see the UFC.
Ben Askren.
Oh God, no. I would love to see him come to the UFC and put in like fucking hell. Him versus Luque would be a fucking war.
That's the one I had in mind actually just now.
Yeah. Or him versus Ponzinibbio would be awesome. Hell, Leon Edwards or George Masvidal. Like, there's so many good fights. I would keep him away from Colby Covington or Woodley or Usman for now. But, yeah. Overall.
Yeah, Covington especially. I think Covington's probably his worst fight.
The thing is that Lima's gonna counter him. And Covington is very hittable.
Extremely. What you mean, very?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, I could see Lima just putting him out, but it's also...
Yeah, but like that pace Covington puts out, like, I can't trust someone like Lima against that.
Yeah. Also, Jake Hager had a no contest because he needs somebody in the groin. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. I've been your host. It's Ben, your boy Ben. Follow us on Twitter and shit. Say goodbye, Bilal.
And buys meat. Buy Ben's meat.
My tasty meat. Yeah. All right. Later.
See ya.